Cross our hearts. We promise never, never to be curious again.
There it is. And one fish, two fish. There it is. And one fish, two fish. And one fish, two fish. And a red fish, blue fish. And one fish, two fish. And one fish, two fish. And one fish, red fish, blue fish. And a red fish, blue fish. All right, there we go. Hey, Leo, how are you doing? I see we got Art in the house today. And a red fish, blue fish. All right, there we go. Hey, Leo, how are you doing? I see we got Art. I still have Echoes in the background. All right, Echoes gone. Charles isn't going to be with us tonight. I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling a little under the weather. You doing well? I'm glad to hear that. And we have Art. It looks like Art popped in the house. Okay, I think I'm getting wind up on the aerobics outfit. So I'm getting ready to I just have to make a couple more tweaks and then I can give Valkyrie a copy and then she can get started on the texture add-ons. Then I can move on with the promos. So tonight I think I'm gonna do Barbarian Warrior Babe thing. And to that end, I think I'm just gonna try to make a sword and scabbard tonight, or at least a sword. So we're just gonna do that in Blender. So we're making a fantasy barbarian sword. So that's just kind of the plan. I may call it early too. I always seem to get tired right about this time. It's like, oh, it's time to stream. Oh man, I'm so tired now. Uh, anyhow, let's do this. I can make a sword in Blender though. Um, I think I'm going to start out 1 meter and then we'll adjust it from there. So I think maybe I do need a cube. I think we will start with a cube. We'll start with a mesh. We'll start with a cube. We're going to make this a 1 meter cube. And then we'll go from here. And probably I'll work a cylinder out of this. We'll just box model everything out of the cube. Should be good. Let's you know what? Let's just call the cube sword for right now. Or blade. We'll start with the blade. And then we'll bring a cylinder in for the handle. So actually, I probably should make this about 0.8 meters. And we'll do some dimensions right here. So we'll do, the way we do swords around here is we line them up from along the z-axis, or as Blender calls it, the y-axis. So we're going to make that 0.8. Let's see. I'm measuring. How big is that? I have to do the conversion. So if we call that, say, 3 inches, that's like 75 millimeters, 0.08 for that. And then we'll just make it maybe, I'm going to say 6 millimeters, but we'll Google this, 0.006. So we're going to start with that for our basic sword size and then tweak it from there. Anyhow, let me Google long sword blade thickness, and then we'll modify this to match whatever the general answer is in Google for that. Long sword blade thickness. I went right past, I saw it there a second ago. Thickness. Typically 3.5 to 11 millimeters at the base, with a common range in 5 to 8, and I went with 8. So I went with 6. So I think we're in the ballpark. We're going to add some subdivisions in there, delete some stuff out, set up some mirroring, and go from there. Let's tab in. Let's put a cut through there. And I'm going to put a cut through there. And we're going to put a cut right through there. We're going to do a little bit of, we're going to merge all of these together. And then we'll work from there. And actually, let's get rid of what we don't need. Let's go in this here. And we'll, what do we don't need? We don't need, I don't need those on the bottom. We don't need those on the side. Because what we're going to do is we're going to set a modifier on here for mirror. What is it? It's generate mirror. I knew that. And we're going to do that on the X and the Z. And then I'm just going to merge all of these to last, so it all comes to this point. At last. So we basically have that. So we are going to move that up here. And you know what? I'm going to set this to the cursor, so when I start scaling it, it'll go that way. You're supposed to, actually, I didn't set it to scale on the cursor, did I? There we go. That's better. I clicked the wrong one. We'll do that. And you know what? We're going to slide these over this way. And I'm going to take those just a little bit on the z-axis. Why is that? These are a little weird. Oh, it's a median. It's a median. Yeah, but my median should be... I'm going to make sure all my transforms are set. See, that's better. That's what I was expecting. So the median on that, I want that to see, I don't know, 0.004. And that way we're getting a little bit of a groove in there. I think I could probably bevel these to give me some more of a curve in there. Think like that. Probably good. We're probably going to add some interesting cutouts or something up here. And I think I am going to scale this stuff again. And then we'll just slide it back. I clicked on the wrong one again. Just slide it back this way. I think that's fine. I'm probably a little wide on the end. So maybe we'll make it a little narrow here and match that. Add some detail in here. Then I'm going to build a cross guard into there. And I like this line here. I think we'll... Can I put a bevel in here? I can't. I don't think I can bevel that at this point. Yeah, I can't really bevel that through there because it's on the edge. When I merge this all together, I might be able to put a bevel. What I want is a little smoother. Maybe we just add a little extra. I think I can just do that, right? And then just bring it down a little bit, and then maybe curve it out with a couple more. Kind of like that. Put another one in there. Like so. And then I'm going to put another one in there. Probably good. All right, let's put a shade smooth on here. Let's put a crease on that groove. And what I think I need to do is probably merge these into a point. I think we're going to do that. Nope, I selected the wrong thing. Where am I? I'm in object mode. I think I'm good. Let's switch to that. I probably should have merged this before I did it so many times. Yeah, I'm going to merge all of these to a point. And, or actually, yeah, let's just merge these all this way. So we're just going to do an M. Oops, I missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do M at last. I'm going to set you to be at 0 along the X. So it comes to a point like that, and then we're just going to clean these up. And then I'm just going to rebuild these faces back out. You know what? You probably should just be merged. And I probably... Did I have an extra? I think that's good. Now I'm going to put a crease along that crest line right through here. We'll just add a sharp. Is that how I want to do that? Yeah, let's do that. Mark sharp. Tab out. It's looking okay, except I'm looking at it like that. I get the feeling it looks a little stressy. Um, yeah, actually, that's looking okay. I think I might bunch this up closer, though. It seems a little spread out. So scale Y those, and then we'll just slide them out this way. Somewhere about in there. And then what do I got over here? I got this. I got some weird stuff going on here, don't I? I have no idea what happened. You know what? We're just going to delete that. I'm going to clean that up, and then I'll just extend that back out. So this should be about 0.4, and then we'll pull that out so it's out to about 4. Although, you know what? It's still a little wide feeling. So put that at, what did I say? I said 0.4. Is that what I want? Kind of. I'll mark a sharp along this edge too, just to make sure it stays that way. You know what? I should just mark those as creases, shouldn't I? That'll also come in handy. And then also mark you as a sharp. Probably good. Still feels a little wide. Maybe I just don't have it long enough. I think, yeah, let's grab these and scale on the X. Kind of thin it out a little bit. Let's just grab everything and scale on the X. Maybe that'll be good. All right, let's add a little, I don't know, do I want to add a little point notch in here? You know what? I think maybe we'll come in and then we'll come out and go back in again. So we'll try that. Do I have a good way to line those up though? I kind of want to do a little cutout in here and then pull it out to a point, and that'll stay. Let's pull a little point out right along here. So what I think I'm going to do is pull this out. We'll put a loop cut in here, and then I can kind of bevel that into a little rounder. Right, so I'm going to do that. Actually, before I do that, let's put another one over in here somewhere. I have kind of a thought what I'm going to do. I think I'll just knife through here. Cut that out. We'll pull this out this way. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to have this little out in there. And then if I just bevel in here, that makes for some nasty end guns in there, doesn't it? I could just bevel all the way through here, right? And that kind of gives me that nice smooth. It's probably more polys than I really need in there, but it does kind of give me the shape I want. Yo, DJ Ray, how are you doing today? Hey. All right, we're working on a sword. Um, I'm going to put a kind of a round cut through here. So I think to do that, I'm just going to kind of knife it. Then we're going to kind of bevel that, fill this in. Yeah, let me do what I'm thinking. Let's try this. So I'm going to take the Kniffy tool. We're going to go here. We're going to go here. And we're going to go here. And we're going to get rid of these two. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to move this to line up with that over there. So we're going to do this. Actually, let's just say scale X0. And then, oh no, it's stuck. Oh, there it goes. Is it moving? It's moving. It's moving. There it is. It's got a little bit of a thing on it. So I think I'm going to take, we'll put a crease. We'll mark sharp and crease these. Okay, and now I'm going to round that out a little bit. I think I'm going to kind of do the same thing I did here. We'll just bevel that. Kind of smooth that out like so. I think I actually want that to be deeper. So we're going to back up a little ways here. And we're going to go back to the, I'm going back to the point where I did the cut. Actually, in here is probably good. Because I want to slide this up a little bit like that. And then you know what? You know what? I'm just going to slide this over here and then put it back to 0 there. And that should do the trick. And select that and that. Bevel weight, or is it mean crease? I don't remember. I'm getting there. And we'll put a sharp in there. Okay, now I'm going to run that bevel through here. So we can add a little bit of I think that'll do. I think that kind of gives me an interesting enough shape. And then if I subdivide this one level, it'll smooth this out a little bit. I'm going to just throw a subdivision on here for the time being. And then we'll go to work on the cross guard. I'm designing while I go. This is me designing. Okay, I think I have an idea. All right, I was talking about adding another modifier over here for the subdivision. I wanted to do subdivision, which is in generate, and right there it says subdivision. And I think that, yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. All right, we're going to move on to our next portion. And when I UV map this, I'm just going to chop it in half. So let's start with another cube. Or actually, you know what? Maybe I'll just steal. I'm just going to steal a poly from here. We're going to be super lazy today. So I'm going to just Shift-D that and separate it. And then pop over to here and tab in and select all. And just kind of, this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship. Where am I? Oh, I'm working with the thing. I'll switch you to median point. All right, pull that out that way. I'm probably going to leave that there. You know what? We're probably going to bring you up a little bit. And we're going to make this narrower. I'm eventually going to connect these sides. Actually, let me add the depth to it right now. So that, and that. We'll just do an extrude. Pull that down. Flatten on the Z and set that at 0 on the Z. Like so. I think I'm going to crease these edges right here for right now. Like that. Maybe we'll crease these for right now. I think I'll add a little bit of I'll put a cut right about there. And then also want a cut that's going to come through here. And then we'll pull this out kind of like that. Then I can use a bevel to add a little bit more smoothness in here through here. Kind of like what I was doing earlier. Although I don't know if I need. So maybe we'll do something like that. And then what I want to do is I want to have part of this kind of hook that way and part of this kind of stick out. So I think what we do, well, if I do an extrude, I'm going to have to delete some extra points. I think I'm going to do a couple of extrudes here. I think I'm going to make these smaller. Let's make these a little like so. Maybe pull you out that way. And then I can do my extrudation. And you're going to kind of come here and come to kind of a point. Sort of. Maybe rotate a little. Kind of like that. Let's crease that. So that's kind of what I want there. Then I'm just going to pull this out through here. Kind of like that. Maybe do that. Maybe we'll just do the same thing we did with the other one. So I'm going to kind of get that. I got a little weirdness right there. I want that shape to be a little, you know what? Maybe it's just a matter of moving you around that way. Maybe back And we're just going to take these two and just bring them down a little bit like that. And you know what? I think maybe we'll slide those back in a little bit. Something like that. I feel like I need something. This isn't quite. I think I just need to put a little extra cut in here. Right about there. And G, but not Z. So I can kind of bring that around like so. Then I'm going to kind of do the same thing here. Although I don't know why I want to do that. I think I'm going to move the other one instead. Yo, Tarpov, how are you doing? I'm kind of making a sword. Am I enjoying the snow? I never enjoy snow. It looks pretty at first, but then I got to go out and clear it off the driveway. So, and then it makes it hard for the delivery drivers to come up my driveway and get turned around. Although I got one of them managed it today because he's a superstar. I think I'm going to go with that. I think I'm going to taper some of these down a little bit though. How are you doing? Until it gets, yeah, well, so we had snow and then what is it? Was it yesterday? Or the day before going into yesterday, it was freezing rain and it turned into rain and then it went back to the 20s again. So the snow is really hard now. Nobody enjoys snow like that. I think that's going to be okay. Do I just need to crease this up a little bit more? And you know what? You know what? I think I just need to adjust my creasing on this to improve things. So we're just going to remove all of our creases. And actually, how does that look? I got a little weird. Oh, I got weirdness in here is because I'm still mirroring. I think if I get rid of the mirroring, it'll probably smooth out a little bit. Anyhow, so I think I'm going to go with that. I think I saw that on a barbarian sword once. It might have been a Conad sword. Anyhow, and this might get a little thicker even when I put the grip on it. So let's just start with I think I'm gonna go with a 20 centimeter. It's nearly 10 inches. Maybe we'll do 9 centimeters. Let's try 9 centimeters to start with. So we're gonna drop a cylinder in here. So yesterday I was worried that it was all going to turn into black ice, but it was also really windy overnight then. So when I got up, everything that I actually cleared where there was concrete was actually nice and dry. So that kind of worked out nicely. How about you, Ray? How's your snow situation? Why are you looking so funky? What is wrong with this? Oh, you know what? I know. I'm inside edit mode. Let's go back here and now let's get my cylinder in here. Cylinder. We're going to rotate 90 on the x-axis. Here and there, snow. I'm going to do, I want like about an inch. So my radius should be about 0.015. That's a little bit more than an inch. I want a depth of about 0.2 actually. I think that'll be it. So let's tab in. We're going to flatten this puppy out. So that's going to end up coming in about there. So let's, am I tabbed in? I'm tabbed in. A, scale, Z. So we'll flatten that out like that. We'll add some curve to this. Or do I want to, you know what? I think I'm just going to bevel. Let's do this. Let's add that. Let's bevel that and spread it out a little bit. Like so. Actually, let's add that like that, and then I'm going to bevel that out. Hold on. So I'm going to take that and that. If I can select that in, scale those down a little bit, except not on the y-axis. So scale, but not y. So it's going to be kind of like that. Then I can take this, bevel. I don't know why those bevels ended up like that. It's a little weird. You know what? I'm just going to do it like that, and then I'll add bevels over here and here. And that'll give me a smoother shape. I think I'm going to flatten the back down a bit. So I'm going to back this up to there again. And then I'm going to bevel these out for a little bit more smoothness. I keep missing. Let's try that again. There we go. I think I'm going to go with that. I'm going to detail out this, and we'll add a pommel gem. It feels a little too thick, though, still. I think that might be better. Ideally, there would be a tang. Do I actually want to put a tang on here? You know what? I think I'm going to add a tang. We're going to fill in this, and then we're going to pull a part back that'll come back into here. So it'll help close any weird little gaps in here. And I'm probably going to add a little bit of a flare on the back of this to match up with that. Also, I want to add a little flare that's going to come out along the blade here. So let's tweak the blade a little bit first. So is it hilt? Is that what we call those? Maybe not with cap locks on though. And then I've got blade 1 is the cross guard, or the guard. I'll just call it the guard. And then we'll hide the guard. And then in here, I'm going to edit that. So what I want to do is close this off. I think to do that, we'll just select these little lines back in here. Drag them down, flatten them out. Set those to 0 on the X. I think I need to crease that. Increase that. I'm going to fill that in. You know what do I want? If I put a like so, that's a little weird. but it's kind of what I want. I'm going to put a knife through here, though, because I don't want a weird little end gun in there. So if I, I'm just going to come over here. You updated your Blender to 5.1. Watching how easy it makes me want to play. Yeah, I don't use the video editing. I do use the modeling a fair amount. And this is like 5 or 6 years of near daily usage, so it gets easier with practice, right? I'm still on 5.0. I haven't bothered to update yet. If the bug hits me, I might. Or if I see some sort of cool new feature, that's usually when I update. All right, I'm going to pull these out and make a tang out of that. And we're going to crease that up a little bit so it's a little nice and sharper. Like that. I should have run. I don't know, did I get it? I got it. I got it. And right through here. And I'm just gonna, you know what, we'll just taper these. Let's switch you to the 3D cursor, which I think is still in the center of the universe. I'm gonna grab these and we'll just scale them down on the X. Like that. And then I'm just gonna pull them kind of like that. Let's do this. There we go. So we actually have a tang on this sword that nobody will ever see. Yeah, baby. Do I also want to mark these sharp? I think I'm also going to mark these sharp. I don't know if that makes any difference. It makes a difference on my preview. I got a little, I got a little goofiness in here. I think that's just from, oh, my crease is off just a little bit. Arg, I hate it when that happens. Don't you hate it when your crease is off just a little bit? That happens a lot to me, though. I think I've dialed this to 100, and then it just backs off a hair because you accidentally move the mouse a little bit the other way. Okay, I think I'm good there. All right, let's actually just drop a material on here while I'm thinking about it. Blade. All right, let's get the guard back in here. All right, I'm going to tweak this a little bit. We're going to pull this out so it matches up on here a little better. So I think, you know what I think I can do? I think I'm just going to do an extrude on that. And just pull that up like that. And you know what? I think that does the trick. And I'm going to just, I like this little roundness I got going on in here. You know what we don't need? We're not going to need that face, right? And I am going to just crease these up. So it does that. Actually, do I want to just crease you up too? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And then if I have to, I can just raise this center line up a little bit. Probably good. Then what I want to do is, I want to bring a little design element that's just going to come down here and then go back. So maybe we'll just pull. Maybe I should do the same thing. Although I could, do I want it right on the you know what? I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to line it right up on the cutout there. So I'm going to, before we do that, I'm going to put that in there. Grab you. We're going to do an extrude. So I'm going to want that to come out through there, like so. I think my creasing got lost. Is that what I want? I think that'll do. I probably have some extra faces in here we have to get rid of. That one. There's one right there and one right there we don't need because of all of our mirroring. And then I want to, you know what? I should give that a different color. And I'm still kind of working on this shape. I haven't quite decided what I want this to be. Maybe I'll go with that. Nope, you didn't move. Why you no move? Because I think I GX'd that instead, didn't I? I probably did the wrong thing. I'll GX that. There we go. Actually, I think I like that better. And I might bring that point down just a little bit in the front. I think I'm going to do that, and then maybe I should probably flatten these out. I'm going to put that back to where it was. Actually, let's I want to flatten this out right here. What do I want to do? Scale Y0. Oops. I'm on the 3D cursor. Let's go back to medium point and then scale Y0 so it's flat. And then I want to bring these down. And then I want to slide that back that way a little bit. Like that. And then slide those that way. So that should still be a fairly flat. I think that'll do. All right, what is this? Cross the guard. I'm going to call it guard. And I think maybe I'll just pull a little bit out in here. Anyhow, let's do that. Let's say guard, and I'll give it a color so it's easier to see. And let's capitalize that a little bit better. That's probably fine. All right, let's add a material for the hilt. Hilt base. Somebody fat fingered that cap lock again. And underscore because it's going to add an underscore anyhow. give you a color. I'm going to add a little, well, add some little metal attachments here and here. And I think we're just going to just build it out of this. So I'm going to bump you up right about in there. Control F. Extrude faces along normal, so we're just going to pull that out a little bit. Like so. I'm going to do that. This is going to be... Actually, that is too thick, honestly. And I'm going to bevel this, and we're going to grid fill the front. Let's do that. So get rid of that. Come through here. Actually, let's do a did that work? That worked. Kind of like that. Is that a loop cut right there? All right, I'm going to pull it out, but I'm just going to use scaling for that. No fancy tricks on this one. Just scale, but not along the Y. And I just want to pull that out just a little bit like that. Expand that a little bit more. And set that to be hilt metal. Or, yeah, hilt metal. Say metal. And assign that. Give that a color. And I'll just kind of do the same thing on the back here. So take that in, and again, merge it center. Round you out just a little bit through here. So we'll add another loop cut. Dang it, I don't know what I just did. Add a loop cut right in there. Scale, nope, scale, but not Y. And just pull that out just a hair like so. Expand that just a little bit and assign that to hilt metal as well. And I might as well grab these if I can. Assign that to hilt metal. I need to add a pommel onto this. And we're also going to make a scabbard for this as well. Where are we at? 1 hour in. I'm thinking I'm going to maybe cannibalize this. Kind of like take these things, bring them in, flip it around, add a little bit more thickness. So let's do that. Let's just dupe this. Let's flip it RX 180. And then we'll GY and bring it back. And then I'm going to reshape that to become my pommel. So I'm going to get rid of this little thing here. We're going to take these elements and just chop them in. So, you know what? We're just going to dissolve out. Well, let's do, this is the easy part right here, right? Where are you? Why I know see, oh, you're upside down now. You know what? Take that, delete those. It leaves me that weird hole, I know. Take that, and that. I'm going to put this, fill that back in. Let's select everything. Let's clear our creases and our sharps for right now. It's just easier for me to think this way. Yo, Willie, how are you doing? I think I'm going to just get rid of this stuff through here. I should flip you around, really. Let's tab out. Let's rotate it 180 on the R, Y, 180. And then come in. That's better. I can work with this a little easier. Select you know what? I can just marquee select all those, get rid of those. Excellent. Making a sword. I'm going to try to do a barbarian babe outfit. So I'm starting with the sword. We've got our blade, we've got our cross guard, we've got our hilt, and I'm working on a pommel. So for the pommel, I'm going to kind of use some of the elements in here to kind of mirror that. But I'm going to smooth it out. We're going to get rid of some of these. So I'm just going to delete. Maybe delete you. Dissolve edges. Kind of like that. Yeah, kind of a hand and a half is what I'm thinking. So I'm going to have kind of like that. That's going to be obnoxiously pointy, but that's okay. So I'm going to pull an extrude off of here, and I think I'm going to maybe slide this face forward a little bit, like that. I think we're going to want to come up a little bit larger than that. I'm going to fill this out and pull that out a little bit more. Do I want to actually just do an extrude on there? I think we're going to do that. We'll do an extrude on that. Get rid of that face there. There's another one right there we're going to get rid of. I need to add a, you know what? I'm just going to do the extrude there. Pull that out like that. Bring you back a little bit like so. Maybe we'll bring you down a little bit. I'm going to probably put some sort of displacement map for a design or something on there. I haven't quite decided yet, though. Maybe we'll just, you know what I do? I am going to eventually need a point right there in the middle. And you need to be right about there. And now I can close that off. Okay, so off the top of my head, I think I need to maybe crease these just a little bit or bevel them. I think I'm going to bevel them. So it kind of does that. Although I've gone a little too, I want to pull that back just a little bit, right? I'm going to adjust the length of this. I think it's much too long at this point. Tab out, smooth, shade smooth, shade smooth. I think ideally it's about a meter long. I'm thinking I may be too thin though. Let's pop it in the DAZ so I can get let's get a DAZ figure in here so we can get a feel for scaling on this. Actually, I'm going to pop it in the DAZ. We'll do that. And then I can kind of go from there. And right now I seem to be under a meter. So I think it might be a little too small, but we'll see. Anyhow, let's just export that. Let's just do DAZ. You know what? I need a new folder for this. Let me see where I'm going to stick this into my working folders. We're going to come. Jesus, what are you doing all the way over there? Get back over here. Now I'm going to put you on screen too. Let's go over to projects. Do I actually have a fantasy folder? I do not. You know what? I'm going to put it in the fantasy folder. I should probably come up with a name for this too. Let's we're going to go to ChatGTP because that's how lazy I am. I still got cap locks on. Names for a hot, sexy barbarian. I have fat fingered the cap lock barbarian babe outfit. And we'll say names. Fantasy barbarian babe outfit. Blood and Silk Valkyrie. Emberfang. I like that. What is Emberfang? That sounds like an actual word. Popular name for fire-themed items and creatures. I kind of like that. Is that being used at Daz? That's the real question. All right, let's go shopping at Daz. There's 161 results for Emberfang. None of which probably say Emberfang. Is there an artist called Emberfang? Is that what it is? Nope. I have no idea why Daz is getting a hit on that. What the hell? How? I have no idea. I think a fire blade. Maybe we'll do something like that. I don't know. Let's take a quick look at what the other suggested names it came up with. You won't be here too long. It's already 2 a.m. Ooh. And you just finished your unders? All right. Well, thanks for popping in. I always appreciate it when you do. Battleborn. I like Battleborn. Battleborn's Wildfang. These single words are working out better than most of the other. What about Wildfang has a nice. That kind of says barbarian, right? We'll be there for Saturday. Yeah, thanks, man. You know what? I'm not seeing a Wildfang. I think we're going to call it Wildfang. I like that. Okay, so we're going to set up a folder in fantasy called Wildfang. Hey, take care, Willie. Oh, I forgot to shout you out. Willie. There you go. Someday I'll actually add your DeviantArt. Where were we? We're over here. We're in projects. We're gonna make a fantasy folder, and inside that, I'm gonna make a Wildfang folder. Dum, 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 dum. New folder. Fantasy. Did that just say it had a dupe or something? There it is. Okay. Oh, the Arden outfit's already in there. Why didn't I see that earlier? New folder. Will be Wildfang. All right. I'm going to put a whip folder in here. And we're going to start saving our working files over there. So I should save, I'm exporting an OBJ. That's what started me on this journey. Going to projects. Fantasy. Wildfang and whip. And this is going to be Wild Fang Sword. And also, we might as well save the blend file before I forget. Dum, 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 dum. There we go. In there. There. There we go. And let's say sword on that, just so I know. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on with Daz. When we finish this up, the center will actually be right here on the handle. Yeah, we'll load in a Genesis 8. Oops, I'm going too fast. What am I doing? What am I doing? Do I still have that sword file? Needle. I still have needle in here. You know what? Did I not? There it is. Oh, that's right. And I had hand poses. So what I can do is we can do that, and I can bring that in, and then what we can do is import my sword into here. And Daz is taking up too much space. We'll fix that. And then we'll import the sword we are working on. Oh, nope, that's my Daz libraries. Projected Fantasy, and Wild Fang, and Whip, and Wild Fang Sword, and open that. And that's my standard, and you are looking a little small. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to parent this to that. And then what I can do is I can take this, we can copy that. I can take this, I can parent that to the left hand. And then I can paste that. Then we can get rid of these needles. Oops. But what I can do is I can take this and then parent it to the left hand. Then we can take those. And now I've got that. Actually, I think my sizing's pretty good there. Although my blade might be too long. I'm happy with I might want to make this a little wider. And make the blade a little shorter. I think just a little shorter. And maybe just make the whole thing a little bit larger, but with a shorter blade. If I scale you by, say, Yeah, I think I'm going to scale it by 110%. Greenstone, exactly. And then we're going to take this in. We'll squish that in, and I think I'm going to take the blade in a bit to about here, maybe in here. We'll do that. And I want to make that crossguard a little larger too. So actually, you know what? I'm going to scale that. I'm going to scale that. Then we'll tweak the... Yo, I'm only a big child. How are you doing today? I'm making a sword, and now I'm in the part where I'm just trying to make it look a decent size. Currently, I think it's too long. So I want these to be... This I just want to be larger, so I'm just going to scale that. And then slide it. Maybe... Let's set that to median. I think I'm centering off the cursor. And am I centering on the median point? You know what? I'm going to just set the origin to the geometry on that. Oops. Control A. Apply all transforms. Now if I set the origin to the geometry on that. Nope. Set the origin. No, you're just fricked up. Okay, never mind. I think that'll just be good. And then I'm going to put you back. This, I just want to make that chunkier. So we're just going to scale that, but not on the Y. You're recovering some virus that you met at your brother's on Christmas? I'm sorry about that. Not too bad, but not too good. Let me give you a shout out. So if anybody wants to check you out on Twitch when you're streaming, shout out at I'm Only a Big Child. There we go. Last seen playing Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Okay, is that still... Yep, that's good there. I need to make that a little bit larger. Maybe a little bit smaller. All right, I'm going to do that. And then I want to bring the tip of the blade back that way. So I'm going to grab all of these points and we're just going to scale on the Z-axis. All this IRL source carries its risks of bugs. You try to avoid it. I don't actually try to avoid it, but then again, I don't have friends. So that goes a long ways to solving that problem. I'm probably going to add a morph that'll allow you to adjust the blade length too. But let me see how this is turning out. Let's export this. And we'll bring it back into here and see if this is more along the lines of what I want. Activate the import. Grab the sword. Say OK. Accept. You're over there. So what I'm going to do is move you over to the... I put it in the left hand, didn't I? Copy that. Paste that. Hide that. That was my... You know what? I think I like that. I'm going to have to tweak the hand pose a little bit. Because now my blades, my grip's a little larger. But I think I've got my sizing. Yeah, we'll tweak the hand poses later. I think I like the size of that though. That doesn't look too awkward. I'm going to move it so that this is actually the center right here. And we're going to start, we're going to UV map this. And so let's move everything along the y-axis so that the center ends up right about there. You normally don't leave your home unless you have to. I wear a mask when meeting people, but we had pizza and coffee, so... And now you got sick. Damn. it's like they waited for your 1 week moment. All right, that's good. Yo, Napsmore, how are you doing? Actually, I want the center to be right there. We're centering it at the center of where you would hold it. Is my philosophy. So with one hand, you're going to hold it right about there. Okay, now we're going to UV map this out. There's some... We're going to apply our modifiers. So what is it? Convert to curve. Am I seeing my convert to mesh? Convert to mesh on that. Convert to mesh on this. I was just looking at it. I'm going to convert to mesh on that. Should be good. All right, we're going to do the blade first. Blades are pretty simple. I'm just going to run a seam right through the middle here. So we'll just tab in, go to this, select along here, here, missed there. Oh, that went under. Did that go underneath? You know what? Let's turn that off and let's hide everything else. I can't see what I'm doing. Missed. There we go. Oh no, I got this little weird goofy thing here from the back. We can fix that. We have the technology. Did I not? Oh, you don't. Do I have a... I must have a plane in here somewhere. Dangity dang it. Oh yeah, I got some extra... I got some extra geometry in here I don't need, right? I should probably go, you know what? We're backing up to the point where I applied the modifier on that. And then let's hide stuff. I've got extra faces in here I got to delete before we apply the modifier to that. So I think hide the guard, hide the other guard, which is actually a pommel. Tab in here. I'm going to turn that off for a second so I can see all these extra faces in here I need to get rid of. Like that one there. And these in here. Those don't need to be there. Am I good now? I think I'm good now. All right. And you know what? Since I'm in here, I'm going to mark a seam. I do have a little bit of a weird goofy thing over here. I should... Uh-oh, I'm clipping. I'm in too close. I'm in too close. What is the thing? Clipping. Does that fix that? That does not fix that. Can I just bevel that? Vertex crease that. Vertex crease does what I'm thinking. Okay, select that, select, oh, that selected all the way around, did it? No, it didn't select through, it did select through there. Excellent. Mark seam. There we go, we're good. Now I put these back. Now I can come out here. Now I can convert to mesh, tab back in here. And I think I'm gonna, I probably should break it apart along here too. And along here. I keep clicking on something and I keep not selecting it. Okie dokie. Are we good? I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, I'm going to do that again, but we're not going to do the, we'll just do the regular old angle base. It looks like this is still connected to those right over here somewhere. Oh, I can't see it. I've got too much stuff in here. Oh, you know what? I probably right there. Let's try this again. There we go. That was it. Oh, they're almost straight. I'm trying something. Project from view. Not supposed to do that. And you know what? That was probably close enough. No, I really want those to be straighter. These are okay. You know what? I'm just gonna grab these one at a time and just try to rotate and get this flat. So RZ, try that again, RZ. I can see it getting flatter and flatter and almost. That looks good. All right, we'll do the same thing with this one. I think that's good. Let me make sure. I'm pretty close to overlapping right here. I could probably use PackMaster to clean this up a little bit. We'll use PackMaster and we'll tell it not to rotate. Where's the thing that says rotate? Rotate enabled. We'll turn that off. And then we'll select everything and we'll say pack. And it should just kind of stick those like that. And there we go. That's good. All right, let's... I'm also... You know what? I think I'm also probably going to put the scabbard on the same map. So I think it's time to start thinking about a scabbard. And we'll bring back all the other parts. Actually, I'm not done UV mapping yet, am I? All right, let's bring the guard back to life. And let's pop into that. And how do I want to unwrap you? You know what? I think mark a seam there. There. There's a little doohickey right in here I want to get. Bring it through here. Back through there. Do that there. Let's mark a seam there. And you know what? I think I want to mark there and there. I've got a point that's a little off, don't I? That's annoying. You shouldn't be there. You should be over here. That's probably going to save a small disaster. And you probably should be right about there as well. I don't know. Let's look at this from the side and just grab all of this stuff and make sure it's lined up on the bottom. Uh-oh, ads back in a few. All right. Not that you can hear me. Scale Z0. And we'll make sure that sets at 0. And it does. Okay, I think I'm good. So I was going to put a seam there and a seam there. I think that'll do the trick. And you know what? Maybe I'll just smart project this. I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know. Well, mark a seam there, there. I'm gonna clear that seam. Mark there, there, and there. Okay, now we're ready to. I'm gonna tweak my creasing a little bit before I apply this. Kind of like that. Smooth it out just a little. Take a little of the harshness off of it. Probably good. All right, let's go ahead and convert to mesh. Let's go over to UV editing. Let's try, well, let me just unwrap it based on what I've got here. Oops, Control A, U, unwrap. You know, that's not too bad. Now, if we smart wrap that, I liked it better the way I had it. Although I do want to just straighten those out. We'll set them up going this more or less the same way, I think. I can't see what I'm doing with that one. So you know what? We'll just kind of put you back into here. You know what? That's not too bad. I could probably rotate you just a little bit further. Probably good. I'm going to stick those over there for right now. All right, where are we at next? Let's do the hilt. Should be fairly easy. I'll just put a seam along. We'll just put seams on the caps. And one seam through the middle. Right about, I think probably there. I'm marking a seam. There we go. And we can't see because there's a guard in the way. There we are. Through here. Nope. Yep. Oh, you know what? That wasn't a seam. That got a sharp. I did that once again. That's going to be a seam. And over here, I'm just going to do the same thing. Right about there. Nope, I missed. Right about there. Looking good. Stick you over there. All right, let's get the pommel. I'm getting some weirdness in here. Let me, oh, you know what it is? I know what that is. It'll be fine. I don't have to worry about it. Gardo 1 is this thing here, so let's get that. I think I'm just going to put one seam through the middle and let it unwrap weird. Oh, and it's a little crooked too, isn't it? So I got to fix up those anyhow. Where's my x-ray when I need it? There it is. Yeah, those are, what the farfignugan happened with that stuff? I don't know. Is that about right? Yep. Okay, scale Z 0. And let's make sure that's all sitting at 0. And while we're here, oh, I got extra weird faces in here, don't I? There and there. I gotta get rid of those. And there. Missed. And there. Get rid of those. That's better. Mark that as a seam. I think that'll be fine. Oh, you know, I could probably add a couple of seams in there. And we'll tab out. Convert to mesh. Tab in. I forgot to select everything. You know what? That's probably good enough. Yo, Helena, how are you doing? And end of this year, small deposit. Thank you for the 1,000 bits. I appreciate that. There's a big dyslexic heart for the wonderful Helena Twitch. I appreciate that. I'm making a sword to go into Daz Studio. I'm currently doing the fun UV mapping part. I think that's probably going to be good enough. And then I'm going to put that over here. All right, we're going to map everything together. All together now. So grab all of that. Tab in. I'm going to select everything, but we're going to deselect this. We're going to deselect this. That's not working. Let's try this. Control I. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this to the deselected. If I can just remember where that was. Adjust TD. Adjust TD to unselected. There we go. That's what we wanted right there. And now we should be able to just pack all of this stuff. Let's see how this goes. Back over here, hit pack. Boom. That's probably it for the sword. All right, let's hit save on this. Let's contemplate putting a scabbard on here. I think I'm just going to start with a cube, and we're going to run the scabbard from maybe here down to here. I should maybe taper that blade a little bit more. I think I'm going to do that. I think I'll do some proportional editing. Let's do this. Come at that from the top. Grab this top end, and I'm just going to scale that in, and we'll turn on some proportional editing with a little bit of linear. And what am I doing? I'm on median. So if I scale X, I can kind of taper that off, kind of like that. Gives me a slightly nicer shape, I think. It's so subtle, I don't even notice it. All right, Shift A. Am I in object mode? I am in object mode. We're going to drop a cube in here. That was not a cube. Let's try that again. Drop a cube in here, and I'm going to make a scabbard out of this. And I'm going to make a little cutout so those pointy parts will stick out. But the scabbard's going to be about like so. So that's the first. It's going to come down to about so. I should actually lose the bottom. You know what? We'll delete the bottom. And I can do that. Yeah, we'll do that. I should have moved the bottom up to 0 first. And then get rid of it. We'll do a mirror on this later on. All right, brain has stopped. It's official. I'm deleting a face. All right, that needs to come down here. I'm going to take that to about here, and then we'll scale that to fit the blade a little bit better. Uh-oh, I still have proportional editing on. Dang it. So scale on the X, bring in just a little bit. And then I think I'm gonna put a cap on here. So I'm gonna put a little bit of a loop cut right there. Something like that. It's still probably a little high. Nope. So right about in there. I'm thinking. That's going to come up through here. There's an extra face in here now. Get rid of that. Also, I got an extra face right there. I can get rid of that at this point. I'm probably going to drop a loop cut through here. Or maybe I'll just put a bevel on here. Yeah, I think we'll put a bevel on this edge. Never mind. Nope. Am I still? Okay, 2. Shift G, select that and that. Okay. I'm trying to get this end down here, right here. Although, you know what? I think I'm going to move you a little bit first and then grab those, then apply the bevel. kind of like that. I missed. Oh, there we go. Okay, I've got some stuff in here I'm going to remove. At least this face. And that leaves me enough room for the sides to come out. Yep, I like that. I think I'm still a little tall. Oh, I'm going through. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this until it just starts clipping there. Then we'll just bring those back up a little bit. I think that'll be fine. Let's crease some edges here. Oh, I still have a face over here I don't need. I'm going to crease these edges up in here. Those sharp picks seem a little risky. It's style. We're going with style over function. Ow. 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 I told you not to buy that sword. I told you that was going to happen. Ow. Okay, I think I'm going to put a mirror on this. And maybe a little solidify and a little... I don't know, something like that. I'm going to put a little something here and a little something down here. All right, let's add a modifier. Let's put our mirror modifier on here. So now, and we're not going to do X, but we're going to do Z, so it's going to go down. And then let's add a subdivision modifier on here. And do I have to, if I do this way, I'm getting goofy shit down here though, aren't I? What if I put a loop cut right through the middle? That helps out a little bit. You know, that's probably going to be okay. Is that what I want? I think that's going to work. What happens if I add a solidify, but only rim? So the idea is we're just getting a little bit of solidified along these edges over here. That's way too thick, so we're going to make you 0.002. And that's going to need a little bit of creasing. I think this might be impacted by the order we put these in. Or not. You know what? Maybe we just sharpen these points. And you know what? This seems to be off by a bit, right? Nope, that's not. I'm going to manually put that in. Let's get rid of that solidify. I'll just manually add that little wee bit of thickness on that. Is that? I'm trying to think. Am I happy enough with that to commit to it? I think so. I think so. Yeah. All right. Let's apply the mirror. Actually, before I apply the mirror, let's. Did that go all the way around? And did I mark a seam with that? I may have. Okay, Control A. I'm in Control A. I'm going to add a little bit of thickness to this. There we go. Hit extrude, scale X, bring that in a little like so. Do the same thing through here. You know what, that I'm just going to extrude and pull down. And then kind of do the same thing here, but extrude and pull up. And then I'm going to just fill that in and adjust it a little bit. F, there we go. And what I want to do is I want to line that up with the other end. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. Your scabbard, okay, I need that. So I want this to line up maybe somewhere about in there, is what I'm thinking. No, you. Yeah. You're about right. I need to just adjust this one though to line up better over here. And that gives me the shape I'm looking for. Okay, now I just need to do that 4 times. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, start with that point there, lining it up there. Take this point and slide it over there. Should be good. Did I get the right point? I did not get the right point. I slid on the wrong slidey thing. That's what I did. I can just do it that way. One, two. I didn't get the right thing. 1, 2, 3, and fill, and 1, 2, 3, and fill. Oh, there was that thing where it slid back on me. You know what? I can do both of these at once. We'll just scale on the Y until They line up like that. And I grab that. So if I GG that, are you sliding on the right thing? Looks like you did. That looks like it went the right way. That should be close enough. My creasing's a little... I have sub D, but... I think I have... there we go. There we go. That fixed it. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. All right, let's add a little bit of detailing. I'm going to want maybe some sort of band in there. Maybe a band down there. And we know we want to put a cappy thing down in here. Yes, the scabbard too. At some point we'll do a belt. Scale wise 0. And that way I can have sort of an end cap. I think this is going to be good. I think that'll work. All right, I'm going to just pull those out. So all of this, I'm going to do a... we're going to offset normals for these. I just have to get all of this selected. Looking good. You can, but yeah, it's much safer with the scabbard, definitely. I mean, this has already got those nasty sharp points, right? All right, all right. Control Shift F, Control F, extrude along normals. Just gonna pull that out like so. I'm gonna crease that, increase that, increase that, increase that. Oops. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of a... oops, let's set you to median. You are on median. Did I not scale Y? And then just bring that in just a hair like that. I like that. I'm going to call that... we need some materials for the scabbard now. Uh-oh, it's 9 o'clock. All right, I'm going to get the materials on here. We're going to UV map this, call it a night. Scabbard. Let's try that again. Yo, Digital Deck, how are you doing? Scabbard, and somebody's got that cap locked on again. Okay, and then scabbard metal, I guess I'll call it. That's awful thick, but that's okay. I'll do that scabbard metal and assign that. And assign that. Did I leave a... oh no, what are you doing? How did you do that? Oh, I know what that is. I haven't creased down on this end yet. Let's get the creases in here. So I need to crease that right there and that right there. That fixes that. I want to slide this edge down a little bit, kind of like that. Then we'll come over here. This is also going to become scabbard metal, and actually we need to crease there and there, and crease there and there. Expand and assign. And I'm just going to slide those in a little bit. Should be good. Let's get the rest of the... We'll show off the rest of the sword. So that's what we're looking at right now. All right, let me UV map the scabbard, and then we're going to call it a night because it's just a little past 9. So this is kind of how we are looking so far today. We've got a matching scabbard and sword. I'm probably going to add more detail to the scabbard. The sword's pretty much done. I'm probably going to try to find some sort of cool designs to add into here and here. So we'll probably be... Maybe on Thursday we'll save the texturing of this till Thursday. And we'll do that on stream on Thursday. Texturing the sword. All right, let's put the scabbard back. Let's finish UV mapping that. I'm just going to flat map that. I've got one seam down the center, so we're just going to, put that into 2 pieces. At least that's the plan. We'll see if I like that or not. Apparently something's still attached, probably at the bottom somewhere. Did I not? I've got a seam right there. Did I not grab everything? You know what it is? It's probably right here. I probably don't have a seam right in here somewhere. It's right there. Just what I thought. And then if that's the case, it's probably the same thing on the other side. Oh, no, you went all the way through. You did all, okay. I'm just going to make sure that's 3A and U. Unwrap. There we go. That's better. Oh, you know what? It still has the, let's apply the sub D. Let's tab out. Come over here. Control A on that. Tab in. 3A, U. Unwrap. What I might do is I'll probably put some... We'll probably add some extra seams in these corners to help flatten it out a little bit. But anyhow, this is where I'm going to leave off for the night. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Hey, if you're on YouTube, I appreciate that. Like and subscribe if you could. That would be awesome. If you're over on Twitch, we're going to look for somebody to raid. It is Tuesday. So let's see who is on Tuesday night over here on Twitch. See if we got any of our art friends on. Barring that, maybe we'll go over and say hi to Esrom. No, not Esrom. Irumakin. And if we visit Irumakin will probably end up raiding Jack. I think Jack's on tonight. Leaf Bear. I haven't seen Leaf Bear in forever. Leaf Bear is a wonderful artist. I think she's in Singapore, but she may not be there anymore. An absolutely incredible watercolor artist who I haven't seen in forever, although I have been following her on Instagram. So let's do that. Let's go over and say hi to Leaf Bear Studios. Let's do that. Hey, thank you all for being here. If you can stick around for the raid, that would be awesome. Hey, my mod wasn't here tonight, but check out Charles. He doesn't actually stream, but he does have a Discord. And you can buy a cool Sarah mug, too. Did I shout out Tarpov? I didn't shout out Tarpov. Follow Tarpov. He occasionally streams. How do I do this again? SO at Tarpov. There we go. Check out my friend Tarpov there. Yeah, so if you're on Twitch and you can join the raid, we got raid calls. If you're not a subscriber, feel free to use that generic one. If you are a subscriber, you get to use the sub raid call. There we go. Yada yada yada. All right, let's do this raid and go over and say hi to Leaf Bear Studio, who is an absolutely incredible artist. Who I honestly haven't seen her streaming in a while. So let's do this. Control V. Did that work? That did work. Alrighty. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I will be back Thursday, 7 p.m. We will probably be I think we'll be working on the textures for the sword. This is going to be part of a Barbarian Babe outfit that hopefully I can sell at Daz. So we'll see how that goes. Classic armor bikini, boots, gloves, and I'm thinking a cape. But anyhow, she's going to need a sword, and we have a sword. So anyhow, yeah, I hope you all have a good rest of a Tuesday or Wednesday for those of you on the happy side of the planet. And actually, I'm probably not going to see you before then. So I wish you a happy New Year. So long, 2025. Hello, 2026. And with that, hasta la vista, baby.